Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here today. I'm, of course, Gregor Guy, joined here by Casey. And just for your educational pleasure, we will be presenting the next iteration of BangHead STEM. So, I honestly have no idea what we will be discussing today. So I'm just going to go ahead and toss it over to you, Casey. What you got for us?
Today we're talking about net positive energy.
Can we get a definition?
The definition: European Commission defines a net positive energy. They're talking about a building here, as on average over the year produces more energy from renewable sources than it imports from external sources. So if we're talking about how much energy
via wind and solar and renewables, kind of like that, versus oil and coal and natural gas, stuff like that.
But in general, I'm just going to be talking about energy, renewable and unrenewable, that has that creates a positive effect. Instead of, for example, a solar panel that the amount of energy it takes to build the solar panel, it takes 50 operating years for that solar panel to create more energy than was put into it.
Than it cost to build it.
Right.
Yeah. I always thought that this was an issue, especially with whatever materials and everything that they needed.
Right.
With solar panels in particular.
Right. So generally speaking,
wind turbines is another.
I have wind turbines in there.
Okay.
But generally speaking, a solar panel
I'll let you go there.
Is never going to create. Because it's probably going to break before that 50 years. It's probably never going to create more energy than that was put into it. So it's a net negative energy. Not saying.
I did have that thought before, but that's obviously a very unpopular opinion. So
technology is ever evolving, and maybe somewhere somebody's creating a solar panel that is more efficient. But at this very time, as far as I can tell, that it has a net negative effect on the environment, just in generally speaking. And this very well may be part one of two or part one of multiple. But so this is what I got here so far.
Let me know what you got.
And we're going to start with
throw the facts at me, man.
We're going to start with fossil fuels.
Okay.
So it is obviously a non-renewable energy. There's oil and natural gas. It can be used and adapted anywhere on Earth. And that is the benefit of that. You can use it, generally speaking, anywhere. You can use it in a desert. You can use it in Antarctica.
Yeah.
I mean, they got small engines, big engines. It's easily adaptable to be utilized anywhere in the world.
Correct. Yes. Correct.
The negative effects is that it creates, it puts bad things in the
greenhouse gases.
Greenhouse gases, bad things in there.
Ozone depletion or whatever.
Right.
I mean,
but
if you're alive, you basically know what we're talking about.
But to be fair, the advancements of late and even within the last 2-3 decades, it's making fossil fuels much cleaner to burn. They convert it to other energies, convert it to less harmful things.
Yeah.
So I mean, and we're only going to be talking and I'm only talking about in advanced, so-called advanced areas, United States, Europe, and there's always a striving to.
Are you also just talking about this day and age, today?
Today, right?
Okay.
But it's not everywhere in the world, because obviously India and China, and China's quickly moving towards more advanced civilization, and you can't count like Africa and South America and stuff like that, because those places are just up and coming. They're not concerned about the environment as much as they are about moving forward in the world and advancing. So
I heard something that Africa is like the largest underdeveloped landmass in the world.
I mean,
that's what I heard. I don't have a source or a site on that. But.
Right. But there's you have to realize that, I mean, this is getting a little off topic, but different societies operate in different ways, and our idea of advanced and how life is and should be is different from anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, that's true. That's a very first world perspective.
We catch ourselves in a trap of saying, "Oh, everybody should be like this. Everybody should be," but not everybody wants to be like this.
It's true.
I mean, all right. Anyways,
would you like to live in a hut and pay no taxes, or would you rather live in this society that we live in and pay 40% of your income in taxes?
They both have their advantages and disadvantages. I'll say that much.
Fair enough.
So let's oil burns at around 38% efficiency. So there's only about 38%, and then we're talking about. I mean, I'm sure there's different percentages and numbers, but I'm talking about a giant plant. It only burns around a 38% efficiency. Natural gas.
Okay, well, as far as the efficiency goes, I don't know if you did research into this or not, but what does that actually? Okay, let's say you take 1 barrel of oil and convert that into electricity. So only 38% of that barrel of oil gets converted into electricity.
Right.
But they have to burn the entire barrel.
Right.
Okay.
Natural gas is around. Okay, I also would like.
You're gonna love that later, by the way.
I would also like to point out that energy is a big business, and there is a lot of competing sources out there. That so I'm going to say right now that I am not an expert. I am not a scientist. I am taking information from different sources and trying to make the best of what I can. But one like for example, clean energy people are going to lie about fossil fuels and other things. Nuclear is going to lie about different kinds of energies, and it's all like a big bag of what the hell is going on here, because everybody's trying to get a leg up on everybody else.
Right. Well, I mean, there's a discussion to be had there, but
right.
We're gonna.
But I'm doing my best with the information that I have. It may be wrong.
We're talking about educational content at the moment.
Okay, so and then this information I got from Geospatial website. Coal is at 33% efficiency. Gas fired, 42% efficiency. Natural gas, 60% efficiency. Next up, we got nuclear energy. Personally, I am a big fan of nuclear energy.
I agree.
I think nuclear energy right now is the best way to go. Obviously, there's not nuclear power plants all over the earth. There's, it is.
But it's a very low pollutant.
Right, and it is a very high cost to create a nuclear power plant as well. So it's the most efficient energy source. It has about a 93% efficiency rate as of NEI.org.
It's a leg up on the 60% that natural gas was.
It is obviously a non-renewable source. We have to pull uranium out of the ground to create this energy. It is it's mined just as any other thing. The biggest concern for most people is safety. People use Chernobyl as a big example. Most scientists and engineers and researchers have dove into that for I don't know how many decades. Like it's almost been 100 years, right?
It happened in '86,
okay,
I believe.
So I'm way off on
almost
that.
like 35
right.
years. Closing in on 40 years here, in 4 more years.
Right.
So about 30 36 years.
Right. And most would say that Chernobyl was actually running a test. It wasn't actually operating at its general thing. It generally how it works. And it's highly unlikely that modern nuclear power plants, if not impossible, that that situation would happen again.
Right, and this would be, my point, for nuclear energy. Like this was 35 years ago.
Right.
Right. Okay. Technology and safety protocols and everything have gotten so much better, since then.
Right.
That why... I really don't understand why people are so afraid of this. I mean, you have aircraft carriers running around out there on the oceans.
Right. So
powered by nuclear power.
You got nuclear submarines.
You have submarines.
Yeah.
Going underwater, powered by nuclear power.
Right.
They figured some stuff out. Let's be honest.
And then people also like to bring up Fukushima, but there's only...
Well, that was a natural disaster.
That was a natural disaster. The plant did melt down, but there was no explosion, and loss of life was at an extreme minimal. And most of the runoff, nuclear runoff, is being converted by the environment itself, running into the ocean and dissipating around the Pacific Ocean. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, how are you going to plan for a tsunami?
Right.
That's one of those like freak occurrence kind of deals, in my opinion.
Right. Another issue people bring up is that radioactive waste. You got to put the rods somewhere. But these rods are from the big plants. They are recycled and they are used in smaller plants. And then eventually they are put into giant pills. Basically,
it's basically like a concrete tomb,
right.
if I'm not mistaken.
And they bury it inside mountains and underground until the half-life of the radioactive materials dissipates. People would argue in different places to put it and stuff like that, but for the most part, we have more than enough land and mountains and caves and whatnot to store these until they dissipate. So with nuclear is very powerful. One uranium fuel pellet about the size of a gummy bear creates as much energy as 1 ton of coal, 149 gallons of oil, or 17,000 cubic feet of natural gas. A singular nuclear power reactor generates electricity on average to power over 760,000 homes without emitting any greenhouse gases.
It's amazing.
So they're very powerful.
Now, compared them to gummy bears. Do you think that yellow gummy bears are constructed from nuclear material? Because they taste like ass.
I'll be honest, I don't even pick out different kinds of gummy bears. I just grab a handful of gummy bears and throw it in my mouth.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a thought I had when you compare it to nuclear. To gummy bears. All right.
And right now, 93 nuclear power plants in the United States, and they produce enough energy to power 75 million homes.
Do we have a number on how many homes are in the United States? That's got to be very close, I would assume, to all the homes.
Right.
Well, I mean, is that homes or homes and businesses?
I don't know. All it says is homes. It doesn't differentiate between. I'm guessing they're just taking the average amount of power that a household uses, and then converting that into an equation to say about how many households that it would power.
I mean, that's fair, but okay, let's just say that the average household consists of 4 people. That's basically the entire United States of America.
I mean,
We can clarify this in a future episode if you'd like.
So I think we are going to stop there for today, and so we basically just discussed non-renewable energy. I'm going to have to change the thumbnail because I put a whole bunch of different stuff. I do have.
It's all right. You got a week.
There is more to come. And to be honest...
Oh, there you go. You heard it here first. This is only part 1.
And
I'm excited. I thought that was, kind of a great discussion.
I was generally speaking very aware...
Not necessarily discussion, but presentation. Right.
I was generally speaking very aware of, obviously, the non-renewables, fossil fuels, and nuclear. And I actually, in the next episode, when I do... we'll do cleaner energy, and
we might even turn it into a 3-parter.
It's possible. I have to. The more you dig, the more questions that you have, and the more you can learn.
Such a tit tease.
I don't tease the tit. I'll be honest. I just go straight for it.
Anyway, well, thank you, Casey, for putting that together. Especially with the numbers and everything, I didn't realize that the nuclear had that sort of efficiency. I knew it was high, but I didn't know it was that high. That's the main takeaway I got out of that. So, like I said, very informative, and I appreciate you doing the research. So, thank you again, Casey. I am, of course, Greg Guy, and ladies and gentlemen out there watching, enjoy the rest of your day.